Hare Krishna. This is a continuation from the previous video where I had spoken about the second chapter, up to verse number 30. The second chapter has 72 verses, and up to verse number 30, the main points that we need to understand is that number one, when we are confronted with difficult situations in life, we need to seek the shelter of a spiritual master. The spiritual master, being placed in a higher level of consciousness, can guide us better, and which is what Arjuna did when he sought the advice of Lord Krishna. The other thing that this section, the first section of the second chapter, talks about is the nature of the soul. So Arjuna's question was, what should I do? In order to answer that question, Krishna establishes what is the I here. I means you can have different identities depending on your relationships, based on your profession, based on your nationality, and so on. So the most basic identity is that you are spirit soul. You are not this body. You are an eternal spirit soul, and as spirit soul you have no beginning, you have no end. You are on this continuous journey, life after life, bodies after bodies, towards your destination. And there are 84 lakh species according to the scriptures, where you can take life forms based on your karma and based on your desire. So this section basically talks about the fact that we are spirit souls, and as spirit souls we are permanent and our body is temporary. Moving on to verse number 31. Now Lord Krishna talks about the other important concept, which is karma. Karma can mean, in the most basic sense, it can mean action. You do some work, that is karma. Karma can also mean the cycle of action and reaction. Karma can also mean the reactions to your work. So the word karma is a bit complex, and based on the context, it can take on different meanings. So to answer Arjuna's question as to what he should do, Lord Krishna says, look, you're a Kshatriya, and for a Kshatriya, the scriptures have prescribed certain duties, and if you do those duties, you have nothing to fear. Basically, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, you have only two options, to fight or not to fight. Okay? Option A, to fight. That option has two outcomes. If you fight, there are two outcomes that can happen. You win the battle, in which case you will enjoy the entire earth. So there's nothing to worry about in that case. The second outcome, if you decide to fight, is that you lose the battle, in which case you will be killed. So in that case also there's nothing to worry, because if you get killed in the battle, you immediately go to heavenly planets, higher planets, and there you will enjoy much more. So here Lord Krishna introduces the concept of afterlife. So there is this life and there is an afterlife. Based on your karma, if you do good things, you get to enjoy in heavenly planets. If you do bad things, you suffer in hellish planets. So there is a concept of afterlife that's introduced here. And Arjuna had a third option. He thought that better I just leave the battle, I go to the forest and live the life of a mendicant and live by begging alms. So Krishna rules out that option. He says that that option is not at all good. There is nothing good in that because if you leave the battle out of your compassion for your relatives, they are not going to take it like that. They will say that you ran away from battle out of fear, and they will spread all kinds of rumors about you, that you are a coward. And for a respectable person, infamy is worse than death. So we have this 31st verse where Lord Krishna talks about Swadharma. So according to the Varnashrama rules, each Varna, the Brahmin, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, the Shudra, they all have a prescribed duty to do. And as long as one is doing one's prescribed duty, there is really no sins incurred. Also, there are different duties prescribed for each ashrama. There's a brahmachari ashram, there's a grihastha ashram, there is a vanaprastha ashram, and there is a sannyas ashram. So in all these ashrams also there are prescribed duties. So one can do one's prescribed duty, and one is not really doing any sins that way. And then verse number 32, Lord talks about the destination of one who is engaged in his prescribed duty. And verse number 33, Lord talks about the outcomes of not being engaged in the battle. What happens? You will get infamous. People will ridicule you, and that would be really very bad. In verse number 35 and 36, Krishna continues to talk about the repercussions of if Arjuna were to flee the battle. And verse number 37, Lord says, this is a win-win situation for you, Arjuna. You are in this religious war. If you, as said earlier, if you succeed in this battle, you will win the whole of earth and you will enjoy. If you were to die in this battle, you will still enjoy even more in the heavenly planet. So in this section up to verse number 37, we basically learn about sakam karma, which is action with an end result. An action that is performed with an expectation of an end result, which is sakam karma. In verse number 38, there is a sudden twist in the story. Now Lord Krishna says, you know what? Just don't think about profit and loss, victory or defeat. Just do your work. Now that's a strange thing to say, because till now Lord Krishna was telling Arjuna about all the profit loss kind of a talk. You know, you do this, you get this, you do that, you get that. And now suddenly in verse number 38, Krishna takes a different twist. And he says, don't bother about profit and loss. But how is that possible? Because you do some work, you do for a result. You don't do a work just like that. You know, people work in the office, they work for their paycheck, or the farmer works in the farm because he is, the end result is that he is getting the crops. So any action has an end result, and people are motivated by the result of the action. So if there is no motivation, why would anybody do any work? Now in this section, verse number 38 to 53, Srila Prabhupada calls it Buddhi Yoga, or the other word is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now this is an important concept to understand. In this section, in order to understand this concept, one has to really understand how karma works. And in order to understand that, one has to understand the duration of lifetime. Okay, these concepts are interrelated. our human lifespan can be regarded as 100 years. Okay, we live up to 100 years, a little more or less. In the heavenly planets, the lifespan is much more than what we know here. They live for thousands of years, and therefore the heavenly people, the people in the heavenly planets, are called Amar, meaning they are deathless. But that word is basically means they have a long life. It doesn't mean that they don't die. Heaven is something like a holiday resort. You know, when you do good karma, you get some good credit points. And think about it like going to a resort. You have a credit card with credit point, and you go to stay in a resort, and you stay there for as long as your credit card has credit. Once you use up your credits, you fall back upon the earth. You exhaust your credits and you come back to earth. So going to the heavenly planet is really temporary. Similarly, your bad karma takes you to hell, and once your bad karma is exhausted, you come back to the earth planet. So that cycle keeps on going endlessly. So Lord Krishna says, first he gave Arjuna the motivation of profit and loss, the lure of heavenly planets. Then Lord says, well, basically it's again a temporary arrangement, you know. So here Lord says that the unintelligent followers of Vedas, this is the verse number 42 and 43, they go, the Vedas basically talk about karma kanda, where you do certain work and you get certain benefits. Okay, so that's a temporary arrangement. And in verse number 45, Lord says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistre Gunyo Bhavarjuna. So he says, rise above this Vedic karma khandic work, because that is a temporary arrangement. You do some good work, you get the profit, you use up your profit, you're back to square one. Then again you do some good work, you get some profit, you use up all your profit, you're again back to square one. That's an endless cycle. So Krishna says, come above that. So what is above that? Okay, so in order to understand this section, as I said, one needs to know about the different planetary systems. There are 14 lokas, and in each loka the duration of life is different. The Brahma loka, being the highest, has the longest duration. So thousands of years of our planet is like 1 hour of Brahma or something like that. There is a very huge difference. So Lord Brahma lives for longest period of time. Even then, that also has an end. That is not a permanent position. That also has an end, and then the living entity which has become Brahma has to again come back to earth, fall back down when the credit is used up. So Lord says, now to come out of this cycle of birth and death, one has to really understand what is the dharma of the soul. Now the word dharma again is a complex word. In a very simple sense, it can mean duty. What is your duty? In a more complex sense, dharma is the intrinsic nature of a living entity. For example, the dharma of water is wetness, the dharma of fire is heat. Dharma is that intrinsic quality which cannot be separated from that. So the intrinsic dharma of a spirit soul is to serve God. Now, we understood that our identity, our deepest identity is that we are spirit souls. We have different layers of identities based on our temporary position, our job, etc. But our deepest identity is that we are spirit souls. And the dharma, the eternal dharma of a spirit soul is to render service to God. That is Sanatana Dharma, the eternal Dharma. There is a Swadharma and there is Sanatana Dharma. Swadharma is temporary, based on the body that you occupy. Your Swadharma changes, but Sanatana Dharma never changes, and that's permanent. So while in the previous section up to verse number 37, Lord Krishna gave the allurement of temporary benefits of heavenly planets. Later on in verse number 38, Lord Krishna changes his stand, and now he talks about Sanatana Dharma, that which is permanent. So in verse number 47 and 49 up to 49, Lord talks about Nishkam Karma Yoga. How and 47th verse is the most famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, the most often quoted verse. Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This is a very famous quote. Ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. Do your duty, but do not be attached to the results of your duty. Now what does that mean? It means that you have the ability to do your duty to the best of your ability, but the result is not dependent on you, how well you did your work. For example, we all have this experience in life where we put in so much of hard work for something, but the end result was very little, not up to our expectation. We are disappointed. We think, I put so much effort into this and the end result is so little. Or we have experience where we put very little effort and the end result is very nice. So the point here is that the result we get is not based just on our efforts. It is based on our past karma. Our past karma. Sometimes you put in a little effort and then 90% is your past karma, which is pushing you into getting a good result. So Lord Krishna says, don't be preoccupied with the end result. Just do your duty. You have the right to do your duty, but not the right to the results of your duty. The results is coming to you according to the laws of nature. And so here that was verse number 47, and Lord says that in 48th verse that be equanimous, do your duty with equanimity, be equal in success and failure. And when you are situated in such a platform, then you're eligible for liberation. And verse number 50 to 53, Lord talks about the benefits of acting in Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. What happens is you are not bound by your work. What happens in the Sakam Karma is that you're bound to the work, because if you do good work, you are bound by the good result. You have to enjoy the good results of your work. If it's bad, then you're bound by the bad results. In either case, you're bound to the work, which will keep you in the cycle of birth and death. How do you come out of the cycle of birth and death? That is by doing Nishkam Karma. And here, the concept to understand is the duty, the primary duty of the soul. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, Lord says, Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nityadas. The primary duty, the primary goal of Jiva is to render service to Lord Krishna. In here in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying exactly the same thing, that when you are engaged in Nishkam Karma Yoga, you come out of the cycle of birth and death. And